Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to the March of the Living Dead. Well, we are talking about Return of the Living Dead Necropolis, or Return of the Living Dead 4 Necropolis. And look, I heard these last two are terrible. I don't think this one is terrible, but it definitely takes some leaps in logic, in continuity from the last three, and I can see why people favor the first three over these. But the story here is that a guy's friend gets into a motorcycle accident, and he's taken to what they think is a hospital, and they find out he's dead. But then they found out he's actually been taken to a top secret research laboratory, and so they mount an attack. They decide, all the friends decide to team up to rescue this friend, and it results in zombies being freed. And yeah, so right away, first scene of this movie tells you right up front that this has nothing to do with the first three. They talk about an outbreak that happened 10 years prior, so this is 10 years from part 3, which was 1993? 1993. So, this is taking place in 2003, I would say. And they had relegated all the trioxin. Now, no, instead of 2,4,5 trioxin, it's now just trioxin 5. First continuity error. They changed the name. It's not the worst thing that happens in the movie, but we see this government guy talking to these two clearly Romanian men, because this was filmed in Romania. So, and talking to them, they're like, "Oh, we have the stuff we take to you. We take it to it. It's very good. It's very good." And he's like, "Yes, into it. I'm the bad guy because I have to smile the entire movie." This government guy, and so they take him to it, and one of the guys gets some trioxin on his hand and turns to a zombie rather quickly, and the guy just shoots him in the head and he dies. It's been established, however, that that's not how it works. You can't kill someone who has been zombified by trioxin. However, I read up on this, and they, some people think that, oh, it's a different trioxin, so it works differently. They never outright say it. They never outright say that in the movie. We're supposed to believe it's the same stuff. So, yeah. And then, after he deals with that and then the other guy, we cut to a car accident, which we later find out are the parents of our main character, Julian. Or Jules, as they call him. Every time they call him Jules, I think of Psyche. It's a woman's name, Julian. And that they died a year before the events of this film. He and his brother, Jake, or Pyro as he's called throughout the film. And so he's got this friend named Zeke. No, I go Zeke. Friend named Zeke. And Zeke is like, "Hey, I know you like my ex-girlfriend, but we just broke up like a month ago, and you don't go near her. You stay away, okay? Okay? And we meet his friends. One of them is Corey Hardrick. He plays the character Cody. He's the husband of one of the Maori twins. Tia or Tamara, I'm not quite sure. I think it's Tia. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. We get Dorky Girl, that's obviously just a hot blonde girl dressed up to be dorky. And we get Carlos, who is the token Mexican guy. Okay? And, yeah. And then there's Mimi, who is the school slut. And you will get that. Yeah. And then there's Katie, who is the aforementioned ex-girlfriend, who he likes. And then, yeah. uh, so we also find out that the government guy from the beginning of the film is their uncle, who is taking care of them since the parents died in the car accident. And we then find out he works for this hybrid tech, hybrid tech that has this trioxin now and is doing experiments. So I'm assuming that the first scene in the movie is from a year earlier. So it's technically 11 years after the events of the first film. So it's the previous film. So it's 2004, which would make sense. It came out in 2005, so it makes sense. Yes. Despite the fact that people call this a sci-fi original film, I can't outright call it that because the effects do not scream sci-fi original. I'm sorry, you have some practical effects, first of all. If sci-fi original, it'd be all CGI. But, there's some decent effects in this. They're not bad. They're not bad at all. Not too bad. So, like I said, some stuff happens. We show that his brother likes fire because they call him Pyro. And, so he and his friend go out motorbiking, and his friend has an accident, like I said in the synopsis. And so the paramedics show up, and they're going to take him, to the hospital. But when he goes to the hospital to find him, this clearly Romanian American woman, this totally American secretary with a thick Romanian accent tells him, your friend not here. They're not name, nobody with name. And she's like, no, they took him. She said, hold on. Hello? Yes? You have him? Yes? What friend's name? Zeke Borden? You do? Okay. Go find doctor. He talked to you. And the doctor, the obviously American doctor with a thick Romanian accent. What do you want? Your friend dead. Your friend, he's dead. And it's like, they couldn't get someone to do American accents. And it's just like, yeah, so they say he's dead. But, wouldn't you know it, their friend Katie, the aforementioned love interest, just so happens to be a security guard. What high schooler would work as a security guard? But she's a security guard, and she just so happens to see Zeke being loaded up off the truck into the building. And so she calls Julian, and he's like, oh, I was going to call you. Zeke's dead. She goes, no, he's not. I just saw him being loaded up into your truck here at the Hypercorp building, or the Hypertech building. And she's like, what? He's like, what? Yeah, he's here. So they mount up and get ready to go in there, and it's very obvious, like, oh, we need some way for them to get in. So their friend just works there, even though it makes no sense for a high school student to be a security guard at a high-tech research lab. There it is. So they get in. I should mention that 2 homeless guys get turned into zombies when there's a trioxin leak. I say that because they go in, and so they sneak in using this security card to sneak in, and the 2 homeless zombies show up, and it turns out Carlos has a gun, and he's shooting them up, and they're like, okay, and they just like run off. Yeah. So to distract the other security guard that's there, they send in the slut girl, Mimi, to seduce him. And so we see them fooling around later. She's like in her bra, and she's on top of him. So she must be at least 18. So, I don't know, but he's like 30 something, and she's supposed to be 18. So it could be legal if she's 18, I guess, but they never. I'm assuming these are all seniors. So as they're going through, they eventually find that somehow Julian's brother, Pyro, has snuck in as well. They needed security card access to get in, and it's implied he was there before them. So how is that? They never explain how he got there. They just wanted him to be there. So he's there. And then this movie becomes Resident Evil because now the uncle is a diabolical evil scientist. Because as they're going to find Zeke, he finds them and they're like, we know Zeke's down here, you gotta take us to him. Okay, there's a maximum security ward, he's in the minimum security ward with the new arrivals. They get in there and, so they destroy a keypad to enter a door that sets the alarm off. She's like, and Katie's like, you have 10 minutes until the cops show up. And it's like, really? They don't have to show up right away? Or until the cops are called. So they don't just show up right away. You get 10 minutes. Good to know. And she spends all this time clicker-clacking on the keyboard to try to get the code. She finally does it. And then Carlos shoots the other keypad for the door that has Zeke. And the alarm goes back off again. I did laugh at that. I thought it was kind of funny. I did laugh at that. I thought it was funny. But then, all of a sudden, they're like, he's not the only one. I don't know if it's Zeke that says it or if it's Cody. But they're like, he's not the only one they lied about. What? Ask about your parents. Huh? I'm like, what do you mean? Where's his parents? I'm like, they're dead. And he's like, they're dead. No, where's my parents? It's like, they're in the North Tower. I'm like, wait, what? Their bodies were exhumed after the funeral. Okay, and so obviously they would be zombies, right? Oh boy, when I say this goes into Resident Evil territory, they get to the North Tower and it's revealed that they were turned into cyborg-like zombie creatures. Yeah, with like one has a saw blade attached and another weapon, and then one has a freaking Gatling gun thing that the dad does, and it's like, okay, we're going into different, veering off the path that we were going on. This has become sci-fi, you know. And then it becomes, well, by this point, yeah, when they go to get there, it becomes Resident Evil because on the way there, they just start shooting zombies. And the zombies, they get shot in the head or they get shot in the chest, it doesn't matter, they fall down. Yeah. That's not how the Return of the Living Dead zombies work, though. They were always impervious to gunshot wounds. You had to blow them up or electrocute them or set them on fire. That's it. That's it. That's it. But no. Sinister Cinema, Jason, he says that it feels like it wasn't a Return of the Living Dead movie. It was a different zombie script and it just made it one, which it kind of makes sense watching this. But unfortunately, Carlos gets killed on the way to the tower and they get separated from Geek Girl and little brother and Zeke. And at one point they show a close-up of Zeke's neck and he's got a bite. And right then I went, then this whole thing was completely fucking pointless. And it was. And I'm like, I don't want, and I said this, I'm like, I hope this is not what happens, but they're going to get in there and he's already going to be turned into a zombie, or he's already infected, or he's going to get infected. And wouldn't you know it, he gets bit and he becomes infected. And goes after the Geek Girl, causing a car accident, which doesn't kill any of them somehow. Well, the others rappel down, the other two left, rappel down the side of the building. You can't make this shit up. You can't. There's a full-on zombie apocalypse going on, and Katie and the security guard guy and the slut, they run out. The security guard guy and the slut, they end up getting turned into zombies. And then they just, the uncle sets free the robo-zombie parents, and the robo-zombie dad is blown up with a grenade, so that he's taken care of. Which, like, Julian doesn't seem to care when they blow him up, but then later when the mom shows up, he's like, Mom? You didn't care about your dad? You know? And then she gets blown up, thanks to the army showing up to save the day. And, then, yeah. Then the army shows up and just blows away all the rest of the zombies. At one point, though, Julian is face to face with Mimi, as zombie Mimi. They're like, shoot him! Shoot her! Shoot her! And he's like, I can't. I lost my virginity to her. The first time sucks anyway. Just shoot her. And he doesn't have any bullets. And then she gets taken out. And so does Zeke. He gets his ass kicked by Zeke. And then I thought it was leading towards the mom getting her memory back and saving him. But no, that's not what happens. They both get taken out by army explosion, I think it is. And then they think they're safe. You know, it's down to Julian, Katie, Geek Girl. The brother gets his head eaten. And she shows emotion when his brother is dead. And so it's down to Julian, Cody, Geek Girl, and Katie. So they're like running to the police when the previously thought of dead dad robo zombie starts shooting stuff off, but he gets blown up by the army, and one of the most stupidest things in this movie happens. Katie is killed from one of the bullets getting shot by the guy. And why? Because they filmed this and Rape to the Grave back to back, and she wasn't going to be in that one, so they just killed her off. No, I'm serious. That's the only plausible option, is that they were filming both of these back to back and they knew she wasn't going to be in the next one, so they just killed her off. It makes no sense that she just dies out of nowhere unless you think of that context. Oh, there's another one. She's not in it. Because I looked up the cast. She's not in it. And you know, it's kind of a mistake. I looked up the cast and I'm like, okay, brother's not here. He's dead. Zeke's not here. He's dead. And he gets infected shortly after I looked it up. Katie's not here, so she dies. Mimi's not here. She dies. So, yeah. And then when they're running, I'm like, oh, maybe Katie does survive, and they just bring up a line like, oh, she went to a different college or something. Nope, she's mowed down by this guy. It would have made more sense if they just had her go to a different college, to be honest. But no, she just dies. And then we see that the uncle is getting away with some of the trioxin, because you gotta set up that sequel. They're shooting back to back, so yeah, and then the movie ends. Yeah, this movie's in the middle of the road for me. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. I would probably rewatch it again. I don't think it's complete shit like everyone else says, but it has flaws. It has flaws. And the big elephant in the room here is that they just ignored everything, any kind of continuity with the series. Even not even calling it the right trioxin name. Just, you know. But yeah, it's the middle of the road. It's the middle of the road. It's the worst one so far. But like I said in other films, if the middle of the road is the worst that it gets. If a middle of the road movie is the worst that this series can get, then it's fine. The next one's still a middle of the road. I'd be fine with it. And I didn't think the cast was bad. They're not good actors. But the best not good actor was Julian. The rest of them, like the actress who plays Katie, I know she's done other things, but she's pretty monotone through most of this film. Let me tell you. But yes. So, what are your thoughts on Return of the Living Dead Necropolis? And no comments, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.